It's pouring rain today, and it's not gonna stop. I wonder if there's room in the budget to look for another motorcycle. Let's go check. I decided long ago that I wanted to ride as many motorcycles as possible. It wasn't so much a decision, but a calling of the soul. At first, it was the purchase of one motorcycle, then another, then another. We all know there's no unicorn bike that can do everything, but I suspect if any of us ever found one, we'd quickly decide there were others out there to ride, turning our attention to finding a Pegasus. How many motorcycles should one motorcyclist own? A mathematician friend of mine says the answer is always n+1, where the letter n signifies the current number of motorcycles owned. I've heard others say the formula is more like d-1, where d represents the number of motorcycles allowed until your divorce. The second equation doesn't seem fair to our partners who already share us with two-wheeled mistresses. The first doesn't take into account other resource constraints. For many of us, finding the magic number, the acceptable number of motorcycles for the household, is elusive. Sid and I, over the years, have agreed upon resource constraints. We call it the motorcycle agreement. The system has worked excellent over the past 10 years. I've been able to experience a lot of rides, from Harley-Davidsons to Ural sidecars. I've ridden sport bikes and scramblers, cruisers, and mini motos. 3 factors exist that limit the number of motorcycles in our household. The first is the space to park the bikes. Sadly, I can only ride one bike at a time. The others must have a home. We have a deal that both cars must fit in the garage. The same contract also stipulates that motorcycles inside the home are frowned upon. At times, I've become a geometry champion, fitting bikes in my garage like a motorcycle Tetris master. The second resource constraint is money. Finances. It's an unfortunate truth, my motorcycle friends, we need to live in the real world. The real world where apparently a family should reside in a house. That house should have electricity, heat, and furniture. It must also be given that the family, particularly those locust-like children, need to eat and then be clothed. Somehow it's become a society standard that all those expectations are met first and prior to purchasing motorcycles. I do tease a bit, but Sid and I do set a motorcycle amount aside for our budget, and we take that budgeting process very seriously. Bikers have a reputation for being reckless, but we shouldn't be with our finances. I actually have a separate savings account for my motorcycle fund. The amount of money set aside is small, but continues to grow. The account is where now we go for new motorcycles, accessories, or gear. The magic is sticking to the budget like anything else. Then it becomes simple. A quick check of the balances lets you know if you can afford a new motorcycle or accessory. As I mentioned earlier, I want to ride as many bikes as possible. Over the years, I've never bought a new bike. The oldest was 43 years old. The newest was a 2013 Harley-Davidson I purchased in 2015. I'm very discerning when buying a new-to-me used motorcycle. I typically pick models for sale by an individual and machines that are older and nearer the wholesale price than retail price. There are lots of older motorcycles with relatively low miles that are on the market at any time. If I buy them broken in, I can ride the new-to-me bike around for a summer or two, then sell it for very near my original purchased price. This money goes right back in the motorcycle budget account. The last time I sold a bike for less than I bought it for was the 2-year-old Harley-Davidson. That was me learning the lesson to buy bikes over 5 years old. In the meantime, I'm putting new money into the account. The motorcycle account continues to grow, and that nest egg allows me to pounce on good bike deals that pop up in my area. Winter is coming, and with it, the familiar itch to scour the boards looking for deals. I've come close to pulling the trigger a couple of times already. Be sure to subscribe if you have an interest in watching my next purchase. Now keep in mind, the method above will not have you riding the newest models. However, there are a ton of 6 to 7-year-old motorcycles with low miles that are fantastic rides and on sale near you. All you'll be out is any accessories added, and of course the normal maintenance. Which brings me to the final constraint, my time. My time is a resource which constrains me the most. Each motorcycle takes a certain amount of time to maintain, a certain loving care. There's oil changes, tire changes, and replacing damaged parts. In the winter, time is spent winterizing at least some of the bikes. The additions of new bikes adds to the time spent working on motorcycles instead of riding them. I've found that about 4 bikes are maintainable based on the amount of time I want to spend wrenching. Now that Sid has her own bike, and beginning to take over her own wrenching duties, my crystal ball sees more bikes in the stable. We have a big garage, 2 mechanics, and D-1 doesn't apply. If this is the new math, I like it.